Pum 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 pum. It's been a while, and I can't sing anything more than this, guys. But I have somebody coming in who sang this song, composed it. So please watch the space for the next Brews and Beans with Shyam. A commercial pilot who's licensed in Indian and American soil, right? Somebody who has a fan base which is growing, and especially a female fan base. Somebody who's done shows 800 plus, probably touching 1,000 sooner or later, and traveled across the globe, 100 plus countries, or 100 plus cities, in fact. But somebody who's from Bangalore. Guys, I'm so excited to introduce you one of my friends of the industry from entertainment, a Bangalore boy. Put your hands together and please welcome Behram to my show. Behram, excited to get you, man, and on my show. And I know how it's so difficult to get your date for a show, and you coming and being in my podcast, Brews and Beans with Shyam. It's exciting.
No, it's very exciting. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast and in your lovely hotel.
No, pleasure is mine. I hope you're enjoying the hospitality all.
Your hospitality is always par excellence. So absolutely enjoying myself, and a good break for me as well.
Right.
From the touring circle.
Great. So I'll have a few questions which are a bit explanatory that I will start with. So from Bangalore, performing across so many cities, right? You're always a commercial pilot. What happened overnight for the shift? Why did a pilot say, I'll stop flying, but I'll fly high and play this music?
So, it was always my childhood dream to be a pilot.
Right.
And it was something that I just wanted to achieve as a dream. And music was something that I've been doing since my teenage years as well. I started off when I was playing guitar when I was 13, 14 years old,
Right.
in middle school, high school. And the shift wasn't easy, but it also wasn't a sudden shift. There was a point where I was trying to juggle the flying with the music, trying to balance both.
Yeah.
But let's just say the music took off faster than the aircraft.
Yeah.
And music, was something that was my passion. It's something that I ended up doing a lot more naturally, and I just went with the flow.
Great.
Yeah, and once things picked up, we got signed by Universal Music Records, and our music started playing on TV and on radio stations and stuff like that. That's when I was like, this is a sign that I have to, give it everything I've got to see how far I can take this.
That's what you always say. I don't work.
Yeah, I don't think I ever work, because if you think you're working, then you're working 18 hours a day in our field,
Yeah.
So for me, I feel it's just living your passion and
agree.
enjoying what you do. And that's why we don't consider it work. When you're traveling 100 shows a year, doing 100 shows a year, traveling constantly, you can't consider it work.
So what's been the biggest point for the band Best Kept Secrets? I know you got the band, you're the leads of the band. What was the turning point which took Best Kept Secrets to the map of the country or on the map globally?
I think there were many such instances, but there were a few shows which we did in our initial stages of our careers.
Right.
I remember when Best Kept Secret had just performed on a very big stage for the first time. It was the Oktoberfest, where we were put on a grand scale, and there were thousands of people, and we somehow managed to win them over. And when we were on stage, it just felt like this is where we belong. Being on stage is where we belong. This is what we want to do, and this is how we want to entertain people. We also kind of identified our sound as a band. I think that's a very important aspect for an artist, to identify their sound, and that's where we felt that, we're kind of developing into something good. And one of the other turning points, I would say, would be a bunch of shows that we started doing in colleges, and again, our music becoming a little popular. Those are the things that made us feel, we're doing something right.
Right. So now, with so much of the female fan base that you have, and it's only growing, right, year by year. What I known you for a decade now.
Yeah.
So it's only growing, and the most eligible bachelor still, right? So what was the moment on one of the shows that actually you had to go home and your mom was like, no, this was not done, somebody jumping on a stage, any moment that you want to share?
No, yeah, no, my mom loves it. She's like, if I'm out and if people come and try to meet me or want to take a selfie or say hi or they say they like my music, my mom is over the moon. I'm the one who sometimes gets a little overwhelmed by it. But it's always great to have a female fan base. I think it started off when we first performed at Mount Carmel Girls College. At that point it was an all-girls college, and that was a really fun moment and experience for us because it was the first time in my life that I saw girls were crying in joy, and a couple of them fainting and stuff like that. And that was something I was never used to, and then I was like, wow, I think I want to do this more often, and it's, you say female fan base, which is great, but lately I think we've been getting a good male fan base as well, which is always good. A balance is always good.
Yeah, that's true. So you've been featured as the most desirable men, the best dressed personalities, right? You've been under Times 40 under 40, the fitness person by Times 40, right? Under 40. Yeah. So after winning so many titles and so much of attention, how do you handle yourself when you are in the live shows? How do you handle so much of attention, or especially the media attention that gets to, with so many awards that you've won, or so much of recognition that you've got on a day-to-day basis? How do you generally handle it?
I think it's something that doesn't really affect me or impact me. It's something that I've also gotten used to, I think, over a period of time, without sounding too arrogant or whatever. But what I mean to say is that initially I was a little overwhelmed when newspapers wanted to interview me or magazines wanted to interview me, or I was winning certain awards and stuff like that. But now I feel I'm a lot more relaxed. I also know that, in show business, nothing lasts forever. So fortune and fame, I feel, is very temporary in show business. So it's very important to stay grounded and stay humble. And I really don't get affected, or I don't let it get to my head when there is too much attention, because there are days when there is also no attention, and I like the balance of both, and I think it's most important to just stay calm, and once you know that, okay, you know what, this is just a wave that I'm riding, and I'm happy to ride the wave.
No, exactly. That's what I've seen over years. Been grounded, been the same, whether in the hotel, whether outside any premises or stage. You've been just like a normal person, and that's something really good, and you keep it going.
Thanks. I mean, I am a normal person, so, and I like to keep it that way. I'm not a different person when I'm on stage or off stage, or a different person with different people. I don't understand that concept. So, I am who I am, or I get to stay in hotels like this and play in concerts that we like to play in because of the support that we get from everybody. So, I'm very grateful, and I'm very humble about the whole growth process.
Right. Now, you're connecting your growth process and humbleness. Now, you're somebody who shared a stage with legends like Bryan Adams. Right? You've gone to that extent.
Right.
So what's your future? Who's the next artist that you would be sharing a stage with, or whom you aspire to share a stage with?
There are so many artists that we look up to, and I know Coldplay had come to India, and we would have loved to share or open for Coldplay, because they are like a modern inspiration for us as well. But I have to say, touching back on Bryan Adams, it was a dream come true for us, because for me especially, the first song I ever learned on my guitar was Summer of '69 by Bryan Adams. And when you are a teenager and you're learning a song by an artist, and you learn more songs by an artist, you will never dream or imagine that, oh, I'm going to get to open for Bryan Adams and share the same stage with him, So obviously that was probably the most humbling experience for us as a band. Great experience for us as a band, and like, given a chance, I'm happy to open for any of these big artists. You always learn so much from them.
But what was the excitement between the boys when you actually gave the news that you're opening for Bryan Adams? What was it? Just to get back to your old memory lanes.
Yeah. When we got a call, and one of the organizers from who was bringing Bryan Adams to India, Mr. Deepak Chaudhary, he called me and he was like, okay, so Behram, we've spoken to Bryan Adams, and their team has finalized Best Kept Secret to open for Bryan Adams in Bangalore and in Hyderabad. And I was in the jam room rehearsing with the boys. So I got the call, and they saw my facial expressions, and I was trying to keep it calm and play it low key and not let them know what's going on. But then as soon as I hung up, I gave them the news, and they were super excited. We decided to actually not take up shows at all during that period because we really wanted to work on our act for Bryan Adams. And for a band like us to not take up shows is very rare because we're always packed and always busy. But that happened to be it in that one particular week where we had a little less shows, and we ensured that we take up fewer shows during that period.
No, that's good. And now that you said you left few shows and you are getting ready for the opening act, that's my question, because one of the books I was reading, Outliers, it says the 10,000 times practice. So how much hard work and practice goes behind the scenes? Do you want to tell the audience really, to get that perfect act on the stage, how many times you must be practicing the same song?
Yeah, they say I think for any artist or any musician, the saying is 10,000 hours of practice is what you require to become a thorough professional. We've been doing this for a while now, so I think we've all crossed 10,000 hours of practice. And I feel like every show that we do as well is a rehearsal for the next show. That's the mentality with which we go. So, when you're a professional and you realize, oh, I made a certain mistake on this one show, and there's no turning back in a show. You can't go back and correct it in a show.
Especially it's live, right?
It's live. Everything is live. So if you make a mistake on stage, you make a mistake on stage, you own it, but you make sure you never repeat that same mistake again. So I think what happens is you have to put in the effort behind the scenes, because what you see on stage is just the tip of the iceberg. It's what goes on behind the scenes. It's how much effort you put into rehearsing, memorizing songs and lyrics and patterns and everything. It takes blood, sweat and tears to do what we do. People always see the glamorous side of things. They'll see the 5-star hotels, they'll see the the business class and the luxury aspect of things, because that's what we show. But a lot of times when we're slogging it out in the rehearsal room, we make sure there's no phones, no cameras, nothing, because we don't want any distractions. We're just focused on the music, and it does take a lot of effort, but we've also learned how to make sure every show becomes a rehearsal as well, so that in a way itself adds to your 10,000 hours of professionalism.
Yeah. And then what I've also seen is Best Kept Secret being an English band. I've also seen a transformation and or adaptation how you have tried to connect with the Indian audience. Now, in that front, the next question is, what's different between performing for a wedding versus a music festival? Or how do you adapt to the energy that comes in a closed Sangeet room or a wedding where, the energy is obviously very high. So how do you adapt yourself to the Indian music and Indian demand?
We started playing Indian music very recently.
Yeah.
And I think when you knew me initially, you knew I was never playing any Hindi songs.
Not at all.
In fact, my Hindi is speaking Hindi is very difficult for me still. Yeah. It doesn't come very naturally to me, but I'm learning the language. And I think what happened, the transformation happened in lockdown, when we were sitting at home, and then there were a lot of fans who were on Instagram, and they were like, "We want you to come live. We want to hear you sing live from your living room." And then while I was on those live sessions, a lot of them were like, "Please do a Hindi song. Please do a Hindi song. We want to hear a Hindi or a Bollywood song in your accent." And then I started it off, and here I'm like this Parsi boy who doesn't speak Hindi and sing in Hindi. And I started with this, with a few songs in my living room or in my bedroom, and had the courage to put them up online. And people started liking the accent and my versions of Hindi songs. And then what happened was we started getting booked for Sangeets in the lockdown.
Yeah.
When we didn't have any other avenues. At one point, we were turning down wedding shows. We thought weddings is not the future, is not the direction the band wants to take, because we didn't know the scale or the magnitude of Indian weddings. From where I come from, weddings are very simple. You don't have big bands, big stages at weddings, but I was introduced to this whole new world of weddings where they spend crores and crores of rupees. So in that wedding space, when we understood that we could turn weddings into concerts and we can turn sangeets into concerts, they were mini concerts, mini concerts, but they were still concerts at sangeets and at weddings and cocktails and all of that. And that's when we realized we want to transform this wedding industry or live entertainment at a wedding industry into a mini concert. So all our sangeets and all our cocktail parties are actually like mini concerts. And now people anticipate it, when we are there. People are actually coming to the stage and standing in front like it's a concert, and they're anticipating us getting on stage. So it's a very exciting experience for us as well. It's a different experience, but it's an amazing experience.
Even I was quite surprised. I know during my stint with the Hilton at Agra, I know we chatting a couple of times. I'm in Jaipur, I'm in Udaipur. I was like, Behram, what's happening?
Yeah.
I mean, you're traveling entire north of the country for the wedding season, and you're packed.
Yeah.
Back to back.
Yeah, I mean, we have become very busy with the wedding circuit as well. And we're very fortunate because I feel live entertainment at weddings, I feel, is the future.
Yeah.
I look at it as the future because I believe that weddings are now taking it a notch higher.
Correct.
You have Tiesto, David Guetta, Rihanna, J-Lo, Pitbull coming to India to perform at weddings.
Yeah.
And Indians just have no chill when it comes to weddings. We like to do weddings larger than life.
Yep.
And it's a great experience for us as well as a band because we see a whole new world out there of glamour and luxuries at these weddings. Once we started the whole Bollywood circuit, we started taking Bollywood songs and making it our own. We do our own version of Bollywood songs. And if we are able to entertain 1,000 or 2,000 people from East Delhi at a show which we did for New Year's Eve.
Oh, nice.
Which was a complete East Delhi crowd, full Bollywood scene, and this was in our initial stages of doing Bollywood. If we can entertain those guys, we can entertain any Indian wedding for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. You nailed it. So every band has a success story, and it's very few bands where the entire crew is staying together, and I think that's one of the secret recipe. Now I want to know from the lead, what is the secret recipe? What has been the secret that Backstage has been together for, over close to 15-20 years now. So what's the secret that boys are together, the energy the same, and what's the brotherhood in the band?
So we started off as a band right out of college, and we are first friends, I would say, and then business partners, if
Right.
I can call it business partners, because as a band, I think we're all super chilled out guys. Like all our personalities are very similar in the sense that we have this kind of chemistry,
Right.
which is very organic and very natural. It's not staged, it's not made up, it's not something that you've had to work on. It just came very naturally, and we just thought we're going to be playing together for a few shows because I'm going to get back to my flying and everybody else is going to get back to their world, and then we kind of all made this decision that we feel the synergy is right. We feel there's something good about this whole thing, so we just shouldn't stop it. Even if we do end up going and doing our own things in our lives with our careers, we will still play for fun. But the way things escalated with our music, we decided to take the plunge. But we all, like I said, we're literally like a band of brothers. When you're touring so much and you're traveling so much, you spend so much time together, you're eating together, you're staying in same apartments together, you're traveling together, you're spending literally your whole life together.
Become a family.
Yeah, we're a family. It is like that, and I think it's not just the case with the band, it's also with the extended band, which is our crew and our backstage crew and everybody who's involved in the whole process of putting a show together. Nobody's treated differently, and that is one policy we've always had as a band. Everybody's role is equally important.
Yeah.
The lead singer of the band is just as important as the stage tech of the band. And that's a policy that we have always followed. And I think it's also about not really bartering out any special treatment to anybody. You know, everybody has to put in the effort to make a show successful. But yeah, we are all great friends. We spend more time with each other than we do with our own families.
Yep.
We spend more time on the road than we do at home. You know, and I think we've just understood each other, just the way you would understand your wife or your girlfriend or something like that.
True.
We've kind of understood each other, and we know how to give each other space, but at the same time we know how to, you know, be together.
That's a success.
Yeah.
Now with so much of success, and now in the peak of your performance or peak of the career of the band, what's going to happen with Best Kept Secrets in next 5 years? What would the fans get, or what is that's coming in on the way?
I wish I knew, because I would love to know what would be in store for us 5 years down the line. But we've always gone with the flow as a band,
Right.
you know, and things come up every quarter, every few months things come up. For example, now we are planning our first ever UK tour.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we're going to be doing 7 shows in the UK, focusing on our new album, promoting our new music, and winning over a new fan base, hopefully. So that's lined up for us. We've got a whole bunch of shows across Europe, in the whole European summer. That's something new that Best Kept Secret has started doing, is that the last couple of summers we've been very privileged to be able to perform across Europe, especially when the weather's right. You know, we've seen that there is a fan base for us in Europe, and people do want us to perform in Europe regularly, so we travel there quite often. So I think in the upcoming 5 years, I don't know where we stand, but I know in the next 1.5 years we have an album coming out. We have new songs. We're releasing our first ever Hindi pop song.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and a whole bunch of tours lined up. So the best part about this job is there's always something exciting lined up.
And you have to be creative all the time. You have to keep on thinking what's next, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think creativity comes to us very naturally. It's the reason why we're doing this also. And I feel it's very important for us as a band that's essentially a pop band to understand what is trending. Trending in terms of music, trending in terms of style, trending in terms of, I think, social media as well. So, you know, we've got experts who tell us what to wear sometimes and what to post sometimes and stuff like that. But when it comes to music, we like to evolve with the trends as well, you know, so it keeps us on our toes.
Right. So now I have few rapid fire questions.
Okay, let's go.
A song you would never get tired of performing.
Okay. A song I would never get tired of performing would have to be Can't Let You Go, which is
Your own song.
my own song by Best Kept Secret. But I also think a song that we never get tired of performing would be, if I had to choose another artist's song, it would probably be Summer of '69 by Bryan Adams, because it's the first song I started off with and I'm still singing it. Or a crowd popular for Best Kept Secret is A Sky Full of Stars by Coldplay. And amongst the Bollywood songs, it's our version of a song by KK called Kya Mujhe Pyar Hai.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I don't think we can get sick of these songs because there's always a smile on everyone's face when we do our version of these songs.
A night studio sessions or a morning creativity?
Night studio sessions for sure.
One city that inspires you most for music?
Bangalore. I think Bangalore has a great music culture, and we're very fortunate to actually spring out of Bangalore, because I think Bangalore has always been the rock music capital.
Yeah.
And Bangalore always had this culture for live music. And there's so many different kind of music that you get to hear in Bangalore. There's a great techno scene. There's a solid Bollywood scene in Bangalore. There's a scene for DJs. There's a scene for singer-songwriters. There's a scene for metal. So Bangalore offers a huge variety of different genres of music.
Yes. I mean, that's why you call it a rock capital of the country.
Of the country, yeah.
Yeah. Studio recording or a stage?
Stage, any day.
Okay. One word that describes your music style?
I would say ever evolving.
Wow. If not music, then what?
Flying. You know, if I was not on stage right now, and if I wasn't a guy making money by performing, I would be flying planes. It's what I was qualified for. It's what I studied for. It's also been my childhood dream. And a part of me secretly hopes that I get to fly again sometime in my life. But for now, Yeah, if not music, then flying for sure.
And when is this most eligible bachelor will not be any more eligible?
I think that is my best kept secret.
You don't want to tell the fans about that.
I don't know about eligible or ineligible, but all I can say is I'm still a bachelor. So that's all.
Great, great. No, that's so much of fun. But Behram, before I call it a day for the show, I just want you to give a message to the fans, or there are aspiring musicians who actually take this industry, looking at Behram and others. So what's the message that you would like to give them who's getting into this industry? What are the best traits that you would like to give them through my show?
So, I'd like to say one thing to everyone who's trying to make a career in music. It's all well and good to say, I want to focus on the art. I want to be creative. I want to make music that I enjoy, that comes from the heart. All that is great. All that is the base. But it's very important for a musician or an upcoming musician to understand where they're going to make money, because it's very easy for us to say, oh, money is not a criteria, it's not a factor. It's not a factor when you're young, it's not a factor when you're in your early 20s and you're just doing it because you have opportunities and stuff like that. But I would just like to say this, and I'm going to get a lot of flack for saying this, because a lot of people say...
I'm very happy that you're honest.
Because a lot of people will be, oh, you should focus on the art and it's all about art and creativity. But I personally feel, if you're not making music, if you're not making money with your music, or you're not making money through your art, there's only so much that you can push yourselves. So to any aspiring musician or any upcoming artist, I would say, do what your heart says, do what your soul feels. But at the end of the day, just identify if you can make money from it. And if you can make money from it, just milk it and cash it in.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Behram. Thanks for coming on the show. I loved it. I'm sure. I hope you loved it as well.
I did. Absolute pleasure. Always a pleasure chatting with you. I'm glad this is one way we get to catch up and chat at least.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shyam. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shyam. Amazing.
Yep.
Thank you for the hamper.
That's the hamper from Lavazza.
Thank you. And thank you for having me.
Pleasure.
Over here.
Pleasure.